Thank you so much. And I want to say thank you for those presentations. Wonderful, insightful information. And thank you to everyone who's watching wherever you are. It's a pleasure to be here. Before we get into it, I'm a mindfulness and meditation instructor, so I'd love if you would join me in some deep breaths. You've all been sitting down for way too long, so let's sit up straight, nice and tall. Everyone, I can see you at home. Sit up straight. That's it. There we go. There we go. And we're just going to take a nice deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. One more time. Are you not doing it? Come on, we've got to do this. In through the nose. Is to reduce my stress levels. Last one, in through the nose. Doesn't that feel nice? Thank you, everyone. I love that. Shaking the head, getting a bit limber. So the next presentation, as you can see, is about wellness tourism market in South Korea during COVID-19. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit about the past, the present, and the future. By that, I mean present and post-COVID-19. My name's Laura McLuckie. I'm from Scotland, in case you didn't get it by the accent. And I'm the CEO of WellMi Wellness Solutions, which is a company based in Busan, here in South Korea. And we develop and deliver boutique wellness experiences for corporate clients, for community clients, education, and various other hotels, retreats, etc. I've been doing that the company was born, technically, last year. So thank you, 2020, for all you've given us. I'm also from broadcasting, so 15 minutes for me is like 6 seconds, so I'll try and be as succinct as possible. I run a wellness company, but I also host a radio travel show in Busan, and I also work, as you can see, in the International School of Busan as the yoga and meditation instructor for the whole school. So today, I'd like to talk a little bit about South Korea and wellness in general. We want to see how wellness tourism has been growing over the past 10 to 15 years or so, and then we'll look at some sites in South Korea, sites in Busan where I'm based, so that's where more of my expertise lies. The present, what's going on in South Korea at the moment because of COVID-19 in terms of wellness tourism. We're going to see some emerging trends that are coming into the contents and the programs that I've certainly seen popping up around. And then we're going to look at the future. Where do we go from here? What is the future? Nobody knows. But the past, we do know. South Korea and wellness, this is something that I find fantastic. South Korea has this intrinsic and really beautiful relationship with wellness and has had for hundreds and hundreds of years. So much so that it's so integrated into culture and into language and into life that it's not recognized as wellness, per se. So, for example, hot springs, which are everywhere, that's not wellness, that's just daily life. Traditional Korean medicine, it's just daily life. The Jjimjilbang, which if you look at the Global Wellness Institute map of wellness services and products, Korea, Jjimjilbang, which of course is the Korean sauna. Forest and ocean, we have gorgeous landscapes here. Being on the peninsula, we've got the ocean on almost all sides and a fantastic array of mountains everywhere you look. So we've got the nature side of things covered. Temple stays, beauty and skincare, of course, the Korean wave has opened up the global market in terms of K-wellness, K-beauty, K-skincare, K-food. Kimchi, who doesn't love kimchi, right? And especially with this global phenomenon of eating broadcast, or in Korean, mukbang, where we can really appreciate how fresh and available and delicious, but also how healthy Korean food is. And then recently, we've seen more and more hotels and resorts opening up that have been really focused on wellness, which is wonderful. Okay, so pre-COVID-19, the government had designated wellness tourism sites. Now, these are broken down into 4 key areas: nature and forest, healing meditation, beauty and spa, and traditional Korean medicine. Now, I'm in Busan, which is the port city, and we have ocean wellness galore. And I'm so disappointed that the government didn't recognize ocean wellness as something that is, a really substantial market, because in Busan, that's all you see. You see people at the ocean, people on the ocean, people in the ocean. And it's such a huge part of life in Busan. And I feel like that's somewhere that we can really develop. We can also see a lot of hotels and resorts, temple stays, and I'll talk a little bit about Helian's Zen Village Temple Stay Month, which is fantastic. It's done every year in the autumn, where foreigners specifically will be able to go and learn about Korean Buddhism. And of course, MICE and FAMTour, we can tap into that market. What we've done in Busan with my company and with other companies we've collaborated with, we've been really, of course, focused on domestic tourism, especially because of COVID-19 now, domestic tourism is all we have. And secondary wellness tourists, probably the main source of our kind of client base. However, we have some, primary tourists now and again when we do wellness workshops, ocean wellness, yacht tours, walking meditation tours. These have all been really, really popular in the past, in Busan specifically. If we move on, there we go. So if we move on, and I just want to share with you some really sad statistics. April is when things start to hot up in Korea in terms of tourism. In Busan specifically, 98.8% decrease compared to April in 2019. The next statistic there you can see country-wise, just decimated, basically. The tourism industry worldwide decimated by COVID-19. The table shows you August 2020, again, another key month in terms of the tourism calendar. The total number of tour visitors that came into Korea, just 8,634, down 99.3%, which is not surprising. It's just really, really sad, really tragic. So yeah, basically we looked at full closure. Everything was off, everything was closed. There was nothing that we could do. However, Korea is fantastic. It's an incredibly, like Keith kind of mentioned earlier on, it's an incredibly technologically advanced country, and everything we do it quickly and we do it right. And we do it happily with smiles on our faces. So what we're seeing now across hospitals, across providers like myself, across other providers, we're seeing immunity boost programs. For example, Dr. Ananti, we've got beauty and hair spas that are utilizing immune boosting ingredients in their cosmetics, and food as well. That's playing a huge role in terms of going to a restaurant to eat a healthy meal. It's all about the immune system. So that's a really big keyword at the moment. Also, untacked wellness locations. For anyone who's an English speaker, untacked just doesn't sound right, but it's a compound word. It's two words together. The first one, undoing. Second one, contact. So if you have these untacked wellness locations, which by definition must be less popular than other wellness or other tourism destinations, they also have to have a cap on capacity. They've got to be outdoors, they've got to have a program that is available to families, to solo travelers, and so the government has found very quickly and designated 100 really beautiful destinations across the country to combat this fear of going out to the more popular places. For example, in Haeundae, which is South Korea's most famous beach, we hold a Guinness World Record for the most beach parasols, which is an absolute nightmare, but beautiful. But it used to be the most popular beach in Korea, and this year, Songjeong was actually the most visited beach because it's a lot less populated and people were just scared to go out and be around other people. And again, speaking with that, the untacked wellness locations, nature, forest healing, ocean wellness, outdoor programs, and online and hybrid programs as well. So Mindful Week, the Busan International Wellness Conference 2020, Wisdom 2.0 Korea, all utilized a hybrid model of running their wellness events. So I just want to give you a couple of examples that I visited recently. The first one is Dr. Ananti. It's an antitoxin and vitality private clinic. So they've got the hospital side, but they also run programs with yoga, meditation, and they are really, I mean, as with all places, they were quiet at the beginning, but they've really been able to utilize their skills in terms of how they deal with COVID-19 regulations. For example, they have an individual client space, they've got immunity boost treatments and packages, and they are collaborating with outside providers to be able to do things off-site as well. If we look at Helian's Sen Village, which is the first well-aging healing resort here in Korea, they're also looking at the market during COVID-19, and I spoke with the manager, and something that was very interesting to me was I assumed that because of COVID-19 the numbers would dip. And initially in February 2020 that was what happened. But as Korea started to become more comfortable with social distancing, and we had, you know, a lot less numbers on the chart, the international or the domestic foreign tourists actually increased. So the manager said to me, before COVID-19, we didn't have so many international visitors, but during COVID-19, we've had so many more international visitors because, of course, travel bans, there's re-entry permits that may not be granted, the mandatory 2-week quarantine period. So that's forced people to look domestically for their wellness or domestically for their travel experience. And so resorts like Helian's have been able to see the benefit of that, which is really, really optimistic in terms of how we can move forward. Also, Helian's are doing collaboration with outside providers as well to be able to promote domestically and also open up to a global market within the country. So the present. There's our WellMi manager there. She's wonderful. Hello, Miran. So the really good news is we now have a wellness-seeking population. Before COVID-19, we didn't even care about washing our hands after the bathroom. Some of us didn't care. But now everybody is very, very hyper-aware, not only of hygiene, but of our immune system. Again, this is this key word. We've also got a lot more issue with other people. We've got an issue with personal space. And we're living a little bit in fear of our own health, but it has wakened us up in terms of being very aware of, first of all, the need for wellness, and secondly, the fact that it's really accessible and the places that we can go to find it. But what's going on just now here in Korea, 14-day mandatory quarantine period means that international tourism is still pretty much not going to happen. Mandatory masks, social distancing, caps on capacity, and taking things online. So where we are seeing great progress is in the domestic market. Unfortunately, international, you know, like again, Keith mentioned in the first presentation, how long is it going to take to get back to normal, or is this it? So I'm just going to share with you very briefly some information about a survey that we're doing at the moment. Now, this is still an open survey, so we're still collecting data, but we asked the questions about COVID-19. And asked, COVID-19 has increased my awareness of my need to pursue wellness. 75.4% of people said agreed or strongly agreed. Influenced me to seek out wellness tourism activities. 56.8% of respondents said yes or strongly yes. And then COVID-19 has influenced my choice of wellness tourism activities, which is very important here, 59.2%. And the trend that we've seen is people want to be in nature. People want to be away from people, and they want to be connected and feel that connection. Also, to have fun and feel alive was 93.8% of people's most important motivation. And I think we all need some of that. We've not had enough fun. So where do we go from here? K-Wellness is heading to those keywords: immunity boost, untact, hybrid. This is what we're looking at for the foreseeable future, and this is where we need to position ourselves to the domestic market at the moment and then build that reputation. Because when you think of Korea, you don't automatically think wellness, but we'll get there. The great thing about it is that we have a brand new, population that really wants wellness. There's this wellness-seeking trend, so we're seeing it a lot more. The government in Korea has been fantastic at building up this wellness tourism destination catalog, if you like, and they are continuously promoting overseas, here domestically, and they have a wellness tourism supporters fan group, and they go around the country. It's SNS influencers, and it's just fantastic. What I would say is we need more multilingual contents and international specialists, because at the moment that would be the one thing that is holding us back in terms of really growing that internationally appealing content with the Korean twist. And both of those are really important to keep. So we've got to have the content creation here in Korea, but we want to expand it out a little bit. And then finally, not to be too bold, but I would like to say that the future is K-wellness. You know, the Korean wave is incredibly influential across the world at the moment. And these are all pictures that I've personally taken or had at our events. And there's so much going on. There's so many things that we've got to share with the world. And I'm so excited that we're going to be able to do that soon, especially after how well the government handled COVID-19 when it first started. And that is my presentation for today. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for your time, and we hope to see you in Korea very soon. 네, 고맙습니다.